Hello everybody, welcome back to the Bad Buckets of Wrestling podcast. My name is Jack, and today we are reviewing SmackDown Live. A decent SmackDown Live. It wasn't as good as the previous two, I would say, but it was a standard go-home show, if you will, for SmackDown Live, for TLC this weekend, of course. We kicked off tonight with Daniel Bryan come out with his gear on, saying, pretty much the same as last week, I would say. He shoots down the crowd, saying they're sheep and whatnot, but he got quickly interrupted by Mustafa Ali. 205 Live's Mustafa Ali. Daniel Bryan then said to Ali, look, me and you are pretty much the same. I see a lot of me inside of you, Ali. These people of Vegas don't deserve to see a match of this caliber, if you will. And Ali turned to him and said, what happened to you, man? Everyone on 205 Live looks up to you. You were a great person, now look at you. And it then goes like, Daniel Bryan's looking mad, he's looking upset. And then he turns around to Ali and says, what car do you drive? And Ali says, oh, SUV. And Daniel Bryan's like, why do you drive an SUV? And Ali's like, well, I've got a family, I've got kids. And Daniel Bryan just slaps him up. And calls him ignorant, slaps him out, but then he goes for another slap, and Mustafa Ali counters it and starts laying into Daniel Bryan, jumps over the top rope I can't remember if it was a suicide dive or just off the top rope, but he does that, gets all pumped, gets the crowd pumped, and then we kick off the match officially. So the first match of the night, WWE Champion Daniel Bryan versus the heart of 205 Live, Mustafa Ali. Can I see this on a pay-per-view, please? It was a decent match for a TV opener, if you will. There was definitely some good spots. Daniel Bryan made sure he made Mustafa Ali look good in the match, and Mustafa Ali was selling perfectly, if you ask me. And, they both make each other look strong, because obviously Daniel Bryan's WWE Champion, he needs to look strong. But Mustafa Ali, if he's ever going to make it onto the main roster, he needs people like Daniel Bryan to, elevate him by, Mustafa Ali lost. He tapped out to Daniel Bryan, obviously, because Daniel Bryan's WWE Champion. But people are going to remember, a bit like Cien Almas kind of thing. Like, he's rarely on SmackDown, criminally underused on SmackDown. But people remember him because every time he's in that ring, he pulls off easily a 4-star match. No matter who it's with, it's a 4-star match most of the time. And this could be the same with Mustafa Ali. If he ever comes back onto the main roster again, people are going to remember, we had a really good match with Daniel Bryan. If you don't watch 205 Live, of course, because he usually has good matches on there week in, week out. But main roster people who don't watch 205 Live remember, this guy had a really good match with Daniel Bryan. Yeah, we'll watch this. This should be good. So, obviously, it's good for both parties. Daniel Bryan picked up the win. He attacked Mustafa Ali's. The finish of the match was Mustafa Ali went for the 054, the reverse 450, if you will. And Daniel Bryan took advantage, started attacking the legs like he did to AJ last week. And heel hook, whatever it's called, put that in. Mustafa Ali taps out, and after the match, Daniel Bryan attacks Mustafa Ali on the ramp. Not destroyed him, but he took out his legs again, put another heel hook on. I think did that thing where he stamps on the face. Keep Daniel Bryan looking strong going into the pay-per-view. So yeah, really good start to SmackDown. Next up, we had the Usos and the Bar in a rap battle. Now, I saw a bit of flack for this on Twitter, and at the end of the day, it's a rap battle. The Bar made themselves look as stupid as possible. It just looks like all 7 guys, because obviously New Day were hosting it, if you will. It looked like all 7 guys were just having a lot of fun, not taking themselves too seriously, just having a laugh. And they had this rap battle. The Usos got a lot more time than the Bar, because obviously the Bar can't rap. They tried to mimic Vanilla Ice and Ice Baby, calling them Ice Shamey, as they will. But yeah, it ended up in the Bar attacking both Usos, and then the New Day got involved, and the Brawl kicked out, and the Bar ended up on top. Now the Bar looking strong going into a pay-per-view. It's interesting. It's interesting because that usually means that they're not going to win on Sunday, but because they've been on this downwards spiral, I would have thought, all right, they might go on another little downward spiral and then pick themselves back up for Sunday and retain the belts. But now I'm not so sure. SmackDown put a lot of doubts in my mind. Let's say that much. Next up, we had The Miz. He was out in the ring with that World Cup that they're still flaundering around for some reason, and he was begging Shane McMahon to come out, who eventually came out, and he asked The Miz, like, what the hell are you doing? What are you doing? And Miz begged Shane McMahon to be his tag partner once again, and hopefully he could prove to Shane that they could be the best tag team in the world. All that jazz. He then forces a match on Shane McMahon, and all will be revealed later. And he's brought out the Vegas boys, a couple of local competitors again, and these lads straight attacked Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon still in his jeans shirt, he wasn't in wrestling gear, but both of them went straight after Shane McMahon. But Shane McMahon he overcame the odds because he's the best of the world, so he overcame them, and he beat. No help from The Miz. He beat both men clean as a whistle, if you will. He made it was a black guy and a white guy. He made the white guy tap out. I can't remember their names, but he made the white guy tap out with the weakest triangle of all time. But because he's the best in the world, it's dangerous. It's a dangerous move. But later on, we had Paige in her office, and who was it that confronted her? It was the referee that ran out for the match, and Paige was saying to him, "Why the hell I should fire you? Why the hell are you sanctioning a match without my permission? I'm the only one here to sanction matches." The referee turns around and said, "The Miz said that you had already sanctioned it." And then the Vegas boys came around and said, "Look, here's our invoice, $5,000 each. That's what we agreed." Paige was like, "I didn't agree to this." And they were like, "Oh, The Miz said that you'd pay us this much." And Paige ripped it up and then shooed everyone away. So, okay, like the Miz Shane stuff, I'm not into it. It's a bit weird. Like, The Miz was the top heel on SmackDown, and he was on top of his game, and now he's just kind of doing this. Like, it just seems a bit weird, if you ask me. It's not as, in my opinion, not an entertaining storyline. It's an interesting storyline, to say the least, but for me, not entertaining. If I'm honest, that was the only downside I would say to SmackDown. Just this whole thing with Shane and Miz. It's not for me. It's not for everyone. I know some people that enjoy it, but for me personally, no. Next up, we had Randy Orton come out, and he was speaking about his match for Sunday against Rey Mysterio that was announced like half hour before SmackDown, I think. And it's a chairs match. Chairs match are usually pretty crap. And he came out and said, we saw footage of when Rey got unmasked with the chair against the ring post. We then saw a couple of weeks ago when Randy Orton put the chair onto Rey's neck and shoved it into the steps. And, we saw that, and Randy Orton was like, "Why would Rey Mysterio want a chairs match with me? I've done this to him in the past. I would do it to him again, and I'll destroy him." And he was about to finish his promo, do his whole RKO stick, but before he said RK, and then Rey Mysterio hit him in the chair, and I think Tom Phillips went, "Oh," like that, and it was just like, I can't be dealing with this. can't Tom, shut up, mate. But yeah, Rey Mysterio came out, hit him with the chair, got the best of him. Chair shot 619. Randy Orton scuppered away, and Rey Mysterio looking strong before a pay-per-view after we haven't seen him for a week or so. So, going to be interesting. It's a chairs match. Chairs match are usually pretty crap, but it makes sense at least. It makes sense to have a chairs match. And there's a lot more stipulation matches on this, involving ladders and chairs, and there's a few TLC matches. So good. If you're going to have a gimmick pay-per-view, have the gimmick matches, not like Extreme Rules where we had one Extreme Rules match and that was it. I think we might have had one no DQ match as well, but that was it. Next up, we had a tag team match between the faces of Jeff Hardy and Rusev versus the heels of Samoa Joe and Shinsuke Nakamura. Shinsuke Nakamura actually turning up for once, which is good. I predicted this match, and I got it spot on, if you ask me. Before the match could start, though, R-Truth and Carmella came out and did their shtick. Cool. But the finish of the match, I called this on Twitter. Nakamura went to go for a Kinshasa on Rusev. Rusev hit him with a match kick first, pinned Nakamura. So we now got Rusev pinning the United States champion. That gives it, essentially makes him number one contender for the United States Championship by Royal Rumble. I don't know if this match is going to be on TLC because there's already like 12 matches. But by Royal Rumble, Rusev will be United States champion. No doubt about that. Because obviously Nakamura's contract is up in January and I can't see him re-signing at all. But next up, we had a bit of a fallout from The Miz Shane stuff again. Shane confronted The Miz about what happened. The Miz said that he did what he did to prove to Shane that they are the best in the world. They're the best tag team in the world. And, that's why he did it. That's why he got these two guys in and he didn't help Shane because he wanted to prove to Shane that, they're the best. They can go far. The Miz offers Shane McMahon a handshake, but Shane doesn't take it. And Shane jogs on. Interesting. Is Shane turning heel? Are we going to get... We're going to get Miz versus Shane at Mania, which is mental to think about. A few months ago, we were going to get Miz versus Daniel Bryan in a WWE title match. But now it looks like we're either going to get Miz versus Shane in a tag team or Miz versus Shane one-on-one in some sort of stipulation. Mental. Absolutely mental. But we had our main events of the evening. The WrestleMania rematch. Asuka versus Charlotte. And decent match, as you expect from these two competitors. Becky was out at ringside, sat by the announce table. Not on commentary, just by the announce table. And like I said, really decent match. There were some throwbacks to their WrestleMania match. And if you're going to throw Charlotte and Asuka in the ring, it's going to be good. If you're going to throw Becky in there, it should be very good. If you're going to throw tables, ladders and chairs in there, it should be exceptional. It should be. Hopefully, I've got a lot of expectations for this match. To have three... Could you say, is that three of the best women's wrestlers on the roster right now? Would that be fair to say? Oh, they're definitely up there, so I would say so. If you're going to stick them all in one match, in a TLC match, it should be fantastic. But the finish of the match was, But the finish of the match was a rewind, if you will, of the Survivor Series match. Charlotte Flair got a kendo stick and started beating Asuka up with it, obviously getting herself DQ'd. And, they're going to have a kendo spot on Sunday. Good storytelling, keep the kendo spots in it. It makes sense. Charlotte then goes on an absolute mad one. As Becky Lynch was going to walk away, she smacked up Becky Lynch with the kendo stick, and she was not happy, Becky. She then went in on Charlotte. She then picked up the kendo stick, and she was destroying Charlotte Flair with the kendo. The only reason why they did this was, I reckon, just to prove that that Becky was definitely going to wrestle on Sunday, because there's still rumours that she isn't cleared. So, if you're going to have her take a weapon shot and obviously there's nothing to the head, but take a weapon shot, do some moves, she should be okay for Sunday. And I think it's the only reason why they did this. But Becky's got her revenge, but then Asuka threw Becky over the announce table, once again taking a bump. She should be fine for Sunday. But yeah, Asuka threw Becky over the announce table. She then picked up the kendo stick and started destroying both Charlotte and Becky. Becky was lying on the announce table, Charlotte on the floor. Asuka was just going between the two, destroying both of them. And that's how SmackDown Live finished, with Asuka with a kendo stick in hand on the announce table, standing tall. Once again, it's thrown my predictions right out the window, because I thought Asuka was going to win. But if we go through the, you know, the myth, if you will, that if you look strong on the show before, on the go home show, you're not going to win on Sunday. So now I just don't know. The SmackDown lot is very unpredictable. The SmackDown matches, in my opinion, I haven't got them up off by heart, but tag team match, I've got no idea now. The women's triple threat, I've got no idea. Randy Orton versus Rey Mysterio. Rey stood tall. I would maybe go Randy, but you can see why both people would win. Both people have a chance of winning in that one. What other SmackDown Live? Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles is probably more predictable, but even then, it's just like there's still chances that something might happen. AJ might get the title back. Why can't Raw be like this? Why can't Raw be like this? I do have to apologise. I didn't watch. I watched the first half of Raw live and then went to sleep because I was just absolutely shattered. And then watched the highlights, and watching the highlights, it wasn't much point watching the second half of Raw, so I didn't watch it, and I didn't do a review on it, all that jazz. But if you did enjoy this, even leave a like down below. Leave a comment on how you liked SmackDown, how you liked Raw. I was going to say which one was better, but in my opinion, SmackDown's been better for months now. But yeah, like, subscribe. We gained a lot of subscribers. Obviously, we had a very kind shout out from our friend Kevin Chapman. And this is why this has happened, because last Saturday, obviously, I went up to Peterborough and had my head shaved for my forfeit for Evolution. Made myself look Bam Bam Bigelow-like. So, if you haven't seen that, go check out our Twitter, and there's pictures on there of it. I quite like it, if I'm honest. It's growing on me. It's growing on me. But, like I said, if you like, please subscribe. Leave a comment on how you thought SmackDown went. Leave a comment on if you're looking forward to TLC. And I shall see you then for TLC review.